Hey fellow tennis nerds, the Gravity Auxetic is revealed. It's not yet here, it's coming in April. In this review I will go through the Pro, the Tour and the MP and my impressions about those rackets. This is not a huge update, but it's significantly better in some areas than the predecessor, and it also looks much better in my opinion. So I think if you're a Gravity fan, if you like a control racket that gives you a good sweet spot, nice stability, and it's a bit of a more modern racket, I think you should definitely check it out. But let's get into the review and go over the new Gravity Auxetic rackets. I hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe if you do.
Fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. New Gravity is now revealed. It's going to be out in April, I think, but the Auxetic version of the Gravity has been revealed. I have been testing 3 rackets for quite a while. Been testing the Tour, which is not available everywhere, I guess. So that would be a bit of a question mark that maybe Head can help sort out. Sometimes the Tour is not really available in different markets. I don't know exactly why. The Pro, which is the endorsed racket of many top guys like Rublev and Zverev, to name 2. And then the MP, which is the lighter version, a little bit easier to use, 1620. These two are 1820. But we'll start with the lighter one, which I think was a true improvement this year with the Auxetic tech. I felt like it was a lot more stable, a lot more consistent in feel. I just felt like this was maybe the strongest improvement along with the Tour, while the Pro felt a little bit more like the same, but still the feeling is a bit more connected with the Pro as well, a bit softer maybe. Auxetic is not really a material, it's a technology of how the carbon fibers interact with each other, and I will get one thing from my bag later to show you how that works. So the Auxetic material, I got this from Stefan Moore, one of the engineers behind this racket and many rackets at Head. He's been there 20 years with Ralph. Those two guys are great. Really enjoy when I meet them at Kennelbach. I went there to see the factory. I've been there twice actually, and this time I had more of an in-depth conversation with Stefan. He's going to join the Tennis Nerd podcast as well, so that's going to be fun. I really look forward to that, to talk about Head history, Head materials, and you know, this iconic brand in tennis. But if you want to see how the Auxetic moves, it's a little bit like this. So you see, this is the Auxetic technology. It really makes the fibers expand and subtract like this, and this makes a racket play differently depending on the mold. So you cannot really say this is going to happen for each and every racket model. It's a little bit unique how the Auxetic technology changes how the racket plays, and I felt like for some rackets, like the Prestiges, I wasn't so happy. I talked about this before. Extreme, like 100 square inch rackets like Speed Extreme, and also these Gravities, I feel like the sensation is more stable, and I feel like it's a little bit of a plusher feel, a little bit of a more connected sensation in the string bed. So that part I really like about the Auxetic versions of the rackets. Generally, there's not much change. This is a little bit, you can be critical about that. It's not the most exciting new racket releases, the Radical or the Gravity or the Extreme, because these changes are very small. There are no like mold changes where the structure of the racket is changed. But the Auxetic tech makes an impact on every racket. It depends a little bit on each model how much of an impact it makes. You can see really how the fibers interact. It's not a material, it's this. It's how the graphite fibers interact. Stefan, if I butcher this in some way, please comment, or we'll talk about that in the upcoming podcast we should do. The MP, 295 grams, 1620 pattern, a little bit more forgiving, a little bit thicker beam than the Pro, for example, that is 20 millimeter. This one is 22. More of a control racket, but more forgiving control racket. And I really enjoyed playing with the MP this time around. The previous editions I felt really needed weight. Obviously, due to quality control, you might get one on the lower spec range. This was a little bit on the higher spec range, so I didn't feel the need to add any weight. On the Tour, I got it on the lower spec range, and I felt like I immediately needed to add some weight. And the Tour played really well when I added about 2 grams at the top of the hoop. Then I think the Tour was really unlocked. So I feel for my level that either the MP or the Tour are the best option. 305 grams, 1820, 295 grams, 1620, some room for customization. This one also a little bit of room for customization, while the Pro is already quite heavy and definitely more difficult to use. But for advanced players, I think the Pro is the choice because you get really great control with the thin beam, 1820 pattern. It's just a beautiful control racket, and a guy like Nicky, he loved it. Check out our sponsor Fuzzy Yellow Balls. Link is in the description to their excellent product, the Singles Playbook, where you can find patterns of play, how to defeat counterpunchers, pushers, serve and volleyers, aggressive baseliners, all accompanied by videos for each chapter. So you can really learn how to develop a strong game to deal with different situations when you're playing matches, which is so important to enjoy tennis and to develop your tennis, is to play a lot of matches. So I can really recommend it.
So I tested the Gravity rackets with a bunch of different players. This is Nicky playing with the Pro, a racket he really loved, and he could hit some really big shots with. It just suits his specs really well. For me, as I said, it's a bit too demanding to use this frame these days, but it's a good racket for sure. The consensus among all play testers that try these with me and myself is that this is an improvement for sure of the Gravity line. It's an improvement in cosmetics, but it's also an improvement in playability. They feel a tad softer yet more stable. This is what I noticed with the Auxetic tech, and I think this is a great update in that sense. It's nothing super innovative since it's very similar to the predecessor, but however, the improvement was felt by everyone. It might be slight, but it's there. And with these rackets, you get a control racket with a good sized sweet spot, a bit easier to use than Prestiges and these types of rackets, even Pro Staffs. So a modern racket, a modern control racket, and you just pick the one that suits your spec range a bit more. For most people, it will be the MP, but for more advanced players, it should be the Pro. Excellent rackets. You can go for the Tour, but it's quite similar to the MP, especially if you add some weight, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just an excellent update from Head, although not huge.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, for me, for my playstyle, if I had to choose a racket off the shelf, it would probably be this one.
Yeah, so this is the real option for anyone more of the advanced level play, while the Tour, I think, is the one kind of perfect for like intermediate to advanced, like, you know, where I would place myself. I think the Tour is my kind of choice. Leaves some room for customization, but still a bit easier to use. 1820 is not going to be everyone's cup of tea because the ball is going to have a lower trajectory over the net, and I do notice that when playing with all these gravities. Even the MP has a bit of a lower trajectory with this 20 mains, as you can imagine. This one is, you know, you get what you put in. Good control, nice stability, pretty good on returns, definitely very nice on serves, I feel. So excellent rackets, good update. Nothing groundbreaking if you compare it to the previous editions. So the Tour, I think it was my favorite. I liked it with like a hybrid of head velocity, MLT in the mains, and I put head walk in the crosses. Felt like that was pretty nice combinations. Won't last as long as a full bed of poly, but it has like a really nice sound to it and a nice comfort as well. I mean, these rackets are pretty comfortable, so if you have concerns with comfort, you play this and you put a multi in and you're fine, right? It's a good stick for you if you are concerned about racket comfort and tennis elbows and these types of things, right? One of the outstanding features of the Gravity series, I think, is the serve. I always find the serve very good on the Pro, even Tour, MP. For a control racket, the serve is excellent. It's something I think they found really. And also, I mean, obviously you have a pretty significant real estate in terms of sweet spot, which has been the selling point. So at the net, if you play a lot of doubles, you will notice that the sweet spot is pretty nice and relatively generous, I would say, in these rackets. So if you're a Gravity player, comment below what do you think about the cosmetic, what do you think about the line, what is your Gravity racket. So that's all for this Gravity review. If you want to support the channel, please join patreon.com/tennisnerd, become a member, get unique content, first impressions. That's where these guys have known about this for a long time, and big thank you to all you patrons. Really help me and support the channel and the website and everything I do. Thanks for watching. As always, check out our coaching app, Unstrung Nerds, in the App Store and in the Google Play Store. 7-day free trial, so I was really keen to hear your feedback. Everything else, Tennis Nerd, in the Tennis Nerd universe, consultations, help with rackets and so on, you go to tennisnerd.net. There's a help section on the menu, click that, and you will get some information on how you can know more about racket strings and get help choosing your perfect racket. That is all. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.